Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to talk about playing Monikers with my 5-year-old twins. So if you've heard of Monikers, you might know that it is not family friendly, but it is similar to the game Time's Up or the public domain versions Fishbowl and Celebrity, but Monikers is the game we have. The reason I played this with my kids is that one of my kids is super into Halloween stuff, and he saw this vampire on the box. He also liked that when you open the box, the vampire disappears. Also here, they become headless. So, yeah, not for kids, but my kid wanted to play. Basically, the game comes with a bunch of cards that have different phrases or words or names on them, and this is a team guessing game. But the game is played over 3 rounds. In the first round, you can say anything except for the word or phrase to get people to guess. And then in the second round, you use the same pool of cards. So you're going to be guessing like 40 cards or something, and people will kind of remember that. The second round, you can only say one word as a clue. And then the third round, you can't say anything, you're just acting it out, doing charades. And because you're using the same word pool, people kind of remember what it is, even if they're really hard words or phrases, or like things that would usually be impossible to act out, but then people can guess it just based on memory and like what you've used previously for clues. So it's kind of a mixture of charades and guessing games and memory. But when my kids wanted to play, they can't read, so they can't do the clue giving since they wouldn't be able to read the cards anyway. Also, I went through the whole deck to try to find words that they knew and are appropriate for them. And so I went through this whole deck and got like around 60 cards that I could use with them. So to play with them, instead of playing as teams, I just decided that I would be giving clues untimed. I would just give the clues and then they would guess. So I did around like 10 or 15 each time, and then I would do all 3 rounds in a row. And they loved it. They loved guessing. But then they wanted to give the clues themselves, which with Monikers for a couple of reasons. 1, they can't read very well. And 2, sometimes the descriptions on the clue cards aren't exactly family friendly either, even if the word itself is family friendly. So if they wanted to give clues themselves, we decided to make our own clues, which is basically the public domain game Fishbowl. They also really like making their own clues because they can pick whatever words they want and they can do things that they're interested in. So for example, they recently watched Wizard of Oz and they're really into Wicked, so one of my kids picked the Wicked Witch of the East. And the way we did this is they just started describing something. They picked something and then started describing it and I would guess. So they didn't even have to have a card for the first round. And then after that, I wrote down the Wicked Witch of the East. And then they drew a little picture because that's like a lot for them to read, the Wicked Witch of the East. That would take them a long time to read. So in case they can't read it, they have a picture. I also wrote some words down myself that I thought they can read themselves, like broom. And then I'm like, you don't need a picture for this. You can try reading it. So this can help with practicing reading while having fun. So we've been getting like a deck of cards that they have picked, and some of them have drawings, some of them don't, but things that they like. And my kids have been having a lot of fun giving clues and guessing. And it's great because I have 5-year-old twins, so like they can take turns giving clues and they can both guess each other's too. And sometimes they'll be acting something and I don't really know what they're doing, but the other one will get it. And when we tried playing just charades before, their acting I wouldn't quite understand all the time. But with Fishbowl style or Celebrity style, where we're doing multiple rounds, and so you kind of know what cards are available in the word pool, it's a lot easier for me to guess their charades. Because like, I think the way they do charades and think about things tends to be different than how I think about things. Same with like drawing with Pictionary. So I'm enjoying playing like Monikers style with them over playing just charades, since the memory part helps a lot with knowing what you can guess. But this method can work for other things like Taboo, Pictionary, other team guessing games where you're making your own pool. Because I've also played Pictionary with my kids. It helps them with reading. And I've just played like Pictionary where we just draw and guess and don't have a board and we aren't keeping score, which is, how we're playing Monikers now. And it helps them practice reading, which is really great. And they're also having a lot of fun. So you don't have to have like an actual physical board game product. You can just do the public domain games, make up your own words. For the cards, these are actually old business cards that I have. So you can use that or like index cards or cut up strips of paper or anything. But that will work for games like Monikers or Fishbowl or charades or Pictionary. And these are things you can play with your young kids, learning readers. And this is something that lots of adults play as party games. And I think it's great playing it with kids too. So even though Monikers is definitely not a children's game, the box art caught my children's eye, and I managed to try to figure out a way to make it work with them, and they ended up really liking it. And they're saying that Monikers is like their favorite game now. So sometimes you don't need children children-specific games to play games with your kids. If you have any stories like this of playing games that definitely aren't for kids with your kids, let me know in the comments, or other ways you modify games to play with your kids. And if you haven't tried playing games like this with your kids, then hopefully this was helpful for you and might inspire you to try. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye. Oh, this game, Monikers.
Oh yeah, Monikers.
Monikers.
You said it again before me.
That's okay.